You're going to have to make some big decisions in the middle rounds of your fantasy drafts this year. We got some upside wide receivers in the middle rounds that could make your fantasy team, that could win your league. We also got some good running backs that are getting a lot of touches. That could be a staple for your RB2 and flex, and you got to make those decisions. One player we're looking at is Brian Thomas Jr., the first-round rookie wide receiver with tremendous upside, 4.3 speed, good downfield, paired with Trevor Lawrence. We're going to deep dive him today. We're going to see whether or not you need him for fantasy football. We're going to look at the good and the bad. But before you do, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're looking at these players every day. We're doing deep dives. We're looking at the waiver wire. We're looking at strategies for your draft and everything else. Click that button right now. Stop missing out if you want to win your league. But Brian Thomas Jr. is already a starter on the depth chart. He's going to be a starter come week 1. He's going to be playing on the outside for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that is a very good sign for his rookie season. Going back to the recruiting process, he was not heavily recruited. 16 offers, but big-time programs were after him because he was a highly touted basketball player, but still was ranked as the wide receiver 9 by 24/7 Sports and 13th in the composite because he had good length, good speed, and could get downfield and make plays happen. Then we got to college, and remember at LSU, you got some playmakers. Did not do much during his rookie season, but neither did Malik Neighbors, so can you fault him for that when you got Kayshon Boutte and a low-volume passing offense? We get to his second year, sophomore season, Malik Neighbors goes off, and you still got Kayshon Boutte there, who had an injury, but Malik Neighbors started going off that season, and then last year, 2023, we get our first 1,000-yard season, 68 catches. We were explosive on the scene. We went off in some big moments. Florida, Florida State. Against some bad schools we went off too, which you should. We went off against Wisconsin. And then looking at the numbers here, we broke out at age 20, which is good. It is okay. 18 to 20 years old is good for a breakout age. Once you get past that point, you're really just an older player, beating up on 18 and 19-year-olds, but breaking out at age 20 with a market share of 26.71%. That's the market share of the team's passing production. The percentage of ownership of the team's passing yardage. Another way to look at the stats, to look at the metrics here. He did well last year, went off, and you can make the case why he didn't break out age 18, age 19. Still got drafted in the first round, and he's a deep threat. When he got opportunity last year, they were pushing it downfield. 13.9 average depth of target. The measure of the yards traveled when he's getting targeted. The deeper, the better for splash plays. And he's got 4.3 speed. He played to that at LSU, and it looks like the Jaguars drafted him for that. 2.61 yards per route run. Usually when you're catching deep balls, you get a little bit less yak because it's downfield. You're waiting for the ball to come in. It's coming your way. You're contested most of the time. Sometimes you're open free, but a lot of times it's in the back of the end zone as well. So the yak is a little bit lower, but a good yards per route run. But the ADOT is what you want to focus on with him because we got that 4.3 speed, that elite burst score at a good size with good length. Comp to Christian Watson, metrically, that does not count what he's done on the field, but size, speed from the combine, production. But looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you just look at the stats from last year, look at what they were doing, and this is something they needed. Calvin Ridley's gone, had an ADOT of 12.7. If you see down there, it's kind of hard to see, but 12.7. Zay Jones is gone, ADOT of 14.6. They needed somebody to stretch the field. They brought in Gabe Davis from the Buffalo Bills, but they needed an elite deep threat. They needed somebody to specialize in that because they're running 41 pass plays a game. They're running at a good clip, 20 seconds between plays. So a faster-paced offense, not the fastest, not the most pass-heavy offense, but we're up there in terms of the league. 68 plays ran per game. So we're running a fair amount of plays here. A lot of targets going to the tight end. We still got Christian Kirk. He was out some games last year. But Christian Kirk takes the short to intermediate. They needed someone to stretch the top off the defense because Trevor Lawrence wants to push the ball downfield. Compared to all the other starting quarterbacks, one of the tops in average depth of target, average depth of pass attempt per se. On top of that, air yards per game, 288 air yards per game. It's up there. Air yards completion rate, less than 50%. So they needed a deep threat wide receiver to bring it home to capitalize on what Trevor Lawrence wants to do with the football. He was also third in the league in deep ball attempts last year, going 20 plus yards or more. Trevor Lawrence was third behind Josh Allen and Jordan Love, pushing the ball downfield. That being said, he wants to be aggressive. He needed the weapons to fuel that. They brought in Brian Thomas Jr. That's why he's a good fit for this offense. You look at the ADP here. Below, underdog ADP, 73 overall, 42nd wide receiver off the board, round 7 draft capital. We're looking at that, and you're looking at all the other wide receivers in his range here. Him, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Ladd McConkey, Keon Coleman, Jamison Williams, Romo Dunze. I can categorize those wide receivers in that range as lottery tickets. As big-time lottery tickets that could go boom or bust for the whole season or off and on any given week. You can do that. Which wide receiver in this range you pulling that lottery ticket for? You got some right before him. You got some right after him. Which one are you doing that? And I got the ADPs of ESPN, NFL, Yahoo, 10-team, 12-team right there. Pause, take a look at that if you need that information. I have that pulled up as well, right smack dab in the middle. Brian Thomas Jr., a mid-round selection, and the market, not me, the market, that's what that's saying right down there, is saying, hey, he's an upside play. It's between him, the other wide receivers who are also upside plays that we're gambling on. Maybe they hit, maybe they don't. And these RB2s that are sitting there, the Aaron Joneses, the James Connors, the Alvin Kamaras, maybe the Kenneth Walkers. Are you going with one of these wide receivers? Now I'm talking about the other wide receivers too, blanketing this statement because we're looking at this as an asset class as upside wide receivers. Brian Thomas is there, the deep threat. Are you going to take that gamble because everybody else is? A lot of people are, because that's what the ADP is saying. Thousands of people are drafting on this site every single day. That's what they're saying in the middle rounds, and it might be a little bit cheaper in a home league draft, maybe around 8 or 9 or so. But if that happens, you may want to buy in. What I would say is if you feel ick at the running back position, or if you feel good at the running back position, and if you're feeling like you need to get some upside at wide receiver, and he falls a little bit, you better snatch him up because he's going cheaper than some of the other lottery tickets off the board. First round pick, 4.3 speed. If you got ick at the running back position in the middle rounds, he's still there. That might be the time to get after him. On top of that, you probably want to take a stab at one of these first round wide receivers, one of these highly drafted wide receivers from the 2024 NFL draft class like Romo Dunze, Ladd McConkey, Keon Coleman, Brian Thomas. One of those guys could hit, but you don't need to draft them if you're looking at these running backs and saying, hey, I need a running back, I need an RB2, I need to backfill this. You don't want a rookie wide receiver. You got a lot of good running backs still left on the board. You only got one good running back in the middle rounds, and now it's time to go ham at the running back position. You're going zero RB, you're going hero RB. You want to start hitting running backs. Maybe it's your time to forego Brian Thomas Jr. You need him because you want to chase that upside. Wide receivers tearing off, and you want to get a guy that can turn your team around, can give you that upside play. You love the situation. You love Trevor Lawrence. You want to buy on in. The thing about him, I have him as a high-priced lottery ticket, but as the lottery ticket, he's a little bit cheaper than others. I'm watching him in drafts. If he falls a few spots and the running back position I'm not feeling good about, or if I feel like I'm already good at running back and I want some more upside at wide receiver, I'm getting that lottery ticket. I do suggest getting one of those highly drafted wide receivers from the 2024 NFL draft class somewhere in the middle rounds right before they tear off. That way, if one of those guys hit, and all of them have good profiles and all of them are in good situations to where they could hit, then you could be in the money, and that could turn your team around. That could cause you to win your league like that off the rip. We're not calling out the next Puka Nacua because that's a stupid thing to do. The next Puka Nacua is never going to happen because that's like a once-in-a-decade type situation. But you can catch wide receivers in this draft class that has the potential to break out in the middle to latter rounds of your draft. So you want to get a lottery ticket or two. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.